Hello everyone, it's Addie. Thank you so much for tuning in. So in this video, I'm doing a little review slash messing around slash tutorial of this yoga trapeze by YOGABODY. So this was actually my first time trying a yoga trapeze or yoga swing, whatever you want to call it. So excuse me for maybe being a little bit rough on my transitions here, but for the most part, it has a pretty easy learning curve. It was really simple to set up. I did it in under 15 minutes and it was very secure. I felt really good on it. I had actually been having a little bit of back pain, feeling like my spine had been squished after being in the car a lot lately, and just a lot of under pressure from lifting weights and not as much yoga lately. So this was honestly exactly what I needed. I had, again, never tried a yoga swing before, but after this, my back felt so much better and just released. What the pose that's showing on the screen right now is definitely my favorite one. I feel like I could hang here for a really long time. And essentially, what you do is just sit in the swing, roll over backwards so that you can hook your ankles on the top straps. And then, as I'm showing on screen, you can also push into the floor and push into a deeper back bend. The yoga trapeze came with a little pose card, which I was going off of and just seeing how well I could replicate the poses. Here, I'm just grabbing the straps and pressing them forward so that I can get a good stretch in my shoulders as well. I loved how many different options of handles there were on this. They have um, one that is really high, one at medium level, and then a low one. So there's really endless possibilities with what you can do with this yoga trapeze. And it's really taking all of the load, the weight off of your spine, so it makes back bending a lot easier. I also made up a couple poses I did not see on the pose card, such as this one, which is a fun way to stretch straddle, and you're stretching your back as well. Then you can move over to one side or the other side and get a good stretch in your hamstrings. Overall, it just feels really good to stretch upside down. One thing I did have to adjust the height a couple times. I would have preferred to have this a little bit higher so that I could hang my arms straight down. Um, but there are, I believe, 3 or 4 different adjustments on this yoga trapeze, so it can really adjust to any height that you need it at. You really just want to make sure that your head is not touching the floor. So as long as your head is not on the floor when you're upside down, I think that's sufficient, but I would like mine to be a little bit higher. Again, right back to my favorite pose. I found that with this one, you want to make sure that the strap around your back you want to make sure that the swing itself is a little bit spread out so that it's not just concentrated on one area on your back, because I did get a little bit of a rug burn there. This stretch is really great for hip flexors, and if you're a yogi and you're working into king pigeon or other back bends like that, this can be a really good way to get there. Actually, when I first began practicing yoga and I was working more contortion, which isn't so much my focus anymore, when I was training back bends, I was crunching my spine a lot and I wasn't engaging myself. I wasn't engaging myself as I should have been, which I've learned a lot since I was in that phase of my flexibility training. But I did have to take quite a while off of training back bends just because I did it in the wrong way and I was actually causing myself back pain. So at that point in my flexibility training, this would have been a really great tool for me just to make sure that I wasn't crunching into the spine. So if you take this pose and you do it on the floor, flip the other way, you're probably going to be bending mostly in your lower back, which you want most of the stretch to be in your upper back. So what the yoga trapeze is helping you do is lengthening out your spine so that you aren't just crunching into your lower back, which happens to most people, and then you're causing back pain to yourself and the longevity of your flexibility practice is decreasing. One thing that I don't show as much in this video is that there are some options for doing more strengthening work. You can do, rows on this. You can hold it and use it like rings or like a TRX. You could really use this as a full-on full body workout machine, but for the purposes of this video, I'm using it as a stretching device. This one was a fun one. I really enjoy getting the shoulder stretch in here as well. And honestly, guys, I could just hang out like this forever. So here's another pose, kind of like I believe they call it an inverted camel. I could be wrong. But this one is another good back bend that feels really good on your back. If you're an aerial artist, if you do pole or aerial silks, I would recommend this as a good cross training. Um, here I got a little bit fancy. So we can train our splits, of course. I had to try it. And I realized later on looking at their website, they have a lot of other pose ideas. You can also put the strap up in the back leg and reach forward using the handles, if that makes sense, to stretch your splits that way. I wasn't stretched at all before I did this video, so my splits are not the best here. As you guys can see, I was having some fun. I just wanted to show you how big the actual swing portion of the yoga trapeze is. You could chill in here like a hammock if you want, so there's another purpose. You can lay back and hold a split on one side, a little hamstring stretch on the other side. Really, any position that you're doing on the yoga trapeze is taking all of the load off of your spine, which is my favorite thing about the yoga trapeze. Oh, here's one that's a little bit different. So I'm on my knees holding the handles with my hands so I can stretch into my shoulders. This is kind of the same exercise you would do with your elbows on blocks or against a wall, but now you're hanging so you can actually push forward into the stretch, which is really nice. A little close-up of the Yoga Body logo here and a little more in depth of how I get into my favorite pose. All I'm doing again is laying back and I'm wrapping my legs around. If you seem scared or nervous about hanging upside down, I you feel very secure in this one. If you guys have tried inversion tables at all, I would definitely say that this feels more secure than an inversion table. And again, reaching back to grab one leg, which is a really nice release on the hip flexors. So if I'm reaching my left leg behind, my left hip flexor is going to get a really nice stretch. Here is that same pose from the back, so you can see just how supported you are. It's not putting too much pressure of one area on my back. Like I said, you want to make sure that swing section is more spread out, so it's not just on one line on your lower back. And then grabbing the handles so that you can kind of mess around with some different poses. Yeah, so I guess there's my little review. I love the yoga trapeze more than I thought, you guys. So I will link it below. A yoga trapeze by YOGABODY. Thank you for tuning in and watching me mess around on this device. Have a great day, guys.